Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are all good today. Sorry about my appearance, I just got back from a run and I thought, you know what, I'm going to film a quick video to go through something that I think is quite special, which you can probably see here. Now you probably know from the title as always, but this is my Tokyo Marui AKX. Now it is a modern AK. They do two versions of an AK, gas blowback, which is what this is. That is their AKM, which came out first. That is your more traditional style AK, you know, it's kind of wood, it's the old school, what you would expect an AK to look like, you know, the classic image of an AK. And then they do this, which is their more modern variant. This actually is not based specifically on any form of AK, but obviously they've kind of updated it in a lot of ways where they put an M-LOK rail on it, they've put a Picatinny rail on top, they've actually got a foldable stock right here, so you can fold that up. A lot of kind of, you know, quick QD release points, basically kind of making the AK modern and something that you can use without buying the AKM and then spending a ton of money to kind of add on different things and kind of completely change it. So I actually got my AKM first, which is another video that I'm going to make for you guys. But this actually is one that I did a poll on the channel and quite a few of the people who voted in it really wanted to see this, which is the AKX. So what I'm going to do quickly is kind of, well, not quickly, what I'm going to do is run through externally what I've done to this, kind of the attachments that I've put onto it, any changes that I've made. I'll run through some internal changes that I've done as well. I'll try and give you guys some kind of idea on pricing of what I've spent on this, which is a lot of money. And then I'll give you guys kind of a quick fire test and just show you what it is. Just so everyone is aware, and YouTube, if you're watching this to review it, this is not a real firearm. This is a replica, it's a toy, it is an airsoft gun. So I'm not showing anything here which is dangerous. I'm not going to take it apart because I had a video I did recently on the Sega 12 SBS and that was demonetized, I think because I took it apart and showed some of the internals. So I'm not going to do that on this, I'm afraid. So I'm going to talk about the internal differences I've done. I might do some shorts on it later. So if that's interesting to you, let me know in the comments below. But this will be kind of a quick overview. So I really like this. As you're probably aware, I love anything that is made by Tokyo Marui gas blowback. This is very heavy. When you get it out the box, it is, you know, your typical amazing Tokyo Marui packaging, and this is really well presented and it's really solidly built. One thing I would say is this just has no wobble in it at all. Even the foldable stock, there's a slight bit because it's polymer, but it really is so solid. It's probably one of the most solid airsoft replicas that I've ever felt. And the amazing thing actually is this mag. You know, with AK mags, they seat quite shallow in the actual mag well. And a lot of AKs that I've seen, they have some kind of give to them. This thing does not in any way. And it's the same with the AKM. So in terms of quality, guys, I couldn't really recommend this anymore. Another thing to mention is when you get it stock, and this is not stock, I've got a lot of attachments. It looks fairly stock, but I've got a lot of attachments on it, obviously. But when you get this, the gas efficiency on it is amazing. So these magazines, they're about 40 round capacity, 45 round capacity. Might be 35, sorry, I need to check that and I'll try and put that below. But they will probably do about 3 or 4 dumps of actual BBs of that amount before actually running out of gas. Now, don't hold me to that, but that's, and obviously it depends on temperature, what kind of gas you're using, but that's kind of the level that I would base it on. So yes, you're using a gas blowback, yes, it's really annoying to reload these mags and you've not got 100 to 200 round capacity, but you don't necessarily have to take gas out with you. If you take a speed loader, an adapter is something you need with this because these are really annoying to load. But if you have some BBs with you, you should be able to take 4 or 5 mags out and be fine if you can do the reloads in longer games. Now, I'll kind of go through what I have in terms of attachments on this. This is a Somogear PEQ 15 copy. Now you may have seen the one that actually I have on my Mark 18. Now that one actually is kind of, it's an airsoft version of it, so it's not as expensive or good as kind of a real PEQ 15, but it does basically have the same functionality. It has your IR illuminator, so an IR flashlight effectively, IR laser, and your visible laser as well. This one does not have the IR flashlight. So in a way for airsoft, I actually think generally this is probably better. It's something where you're getting the IR laser. So if you're using night vision, that's great. You're getting the visible laser, but instead of the IR illuminator, you've actually just got a regular flashlight. So I very rarely use night vision, and actually normally, like on my Mark 18, I'll show you that in a second. On my Mark 18, I have a Surefire flashlight. So I kind of have to have both because you do not have a normal flashlight in here. Whereas with this one, you've kind of got the flashlight and it built in, so you can kind of condense what you have here. Obviously, I've got it running on the Picatinny rail on top. It does have iron sights, as I can show you there. I'm going to take this mag out. It's got iron sights, and actually what's great about this is literally it fits perfectly just between them. I believe you have a flip up iron sight at the back. Oh, sorry, no. There is like a little flip up here, which I think is very cool. In terms of how accurate and useful it is, I think very little, because the actual space that you're looking through there is tiny, and it's not adjustable like the AKM is, but it is, it's one of those things that probably it's good to have just in case your red dot doesn't work, but I would definitely run a red dot on this if you're thinking about getting it. So this is the PEQ 15, as I said. This actually is $85 as opposed to the one which has the IR illuminator, which is $250. So that for me is a massive, massive difference. And probably if you're thinking, you know what, I just want to get something that looks like a PEQ, but I want it to be really functional, I would probably go with this. Obviously, if you want the IR illuminator, you can't do that. But it's got your function button here, so you can push this down right there. As you can probably see, I've got flashlight and IR on. You can switch that functionality. Flashlight and laser on, you can switch that functionality there. I also have a pressure switch right here. Show you on there. I've got a pressure switch which also you can press. To be honest, what I would actually normally do is use the one on top, but I've kind of got that there just in case. To give you an idea, that is the red laser, which is probably quite hard to see if I show you on that cardboard box. That's the red laser and that's the flashlight, so really good brightness. Again, I've used this indoors, it's been perfect for what it is. So, it's good. I would definitely recommend it if that's what you're going to do. The other things that I have on it is this, which is a Sightmark red dot. Now, these are a little bit, some people don't like them, some people really like them. They don't you can use them on real steel. So, you will see them on a real AK if someone was going to run that on their Picatinny rail. But you don't see them very often, and it's not really like your military issue. If you're looking for proper mil sim, I don't think you'll necessarily go for this, but they're very affordable for what they are, and I actually think the performance of them is great. Let me see if I can do that for you. You can see there, it's bright. You actually also have this cover here, which if it's bright, and it's daylight shining in, you've actually kind of got that added cover there, right, for it. So for the price, I believe these ones are let me see, $150. So, if you're getting your ACOG, which is going to be, your EOTech, which is going to be equivalent, you're spending $600 for that. This is going to be $150. So if you're on a budget, you're thinking, you know what, I want the functionality, I definitely would do that. And it also has NV mode, so it will put out, instead of just the red laser, the red illuminator, you can put out the IR one. So if you're wearing nods, you basically can have the equivalent. So it's like an EOTech in terms of functionality, but actually I think it's great. It's got a lot of, you can adjust obviously the windage elevation just here and then on top here. But if you guys have questions about that, let me know. I'll probably do a review video on that quite soon. Actually, the price of the actual AKX is probably quite interesting. It's expensive. This is $540. So if you're looking at getting that from, I believe I was looking at Red Wolf. So again, that's a overseas price. I think you probably will pay about 600 to 700 here. So it's your more expensive gas blowback, but I do think it's worth it. If it's something that you really like the look of, I wouldn't be like, oh, is it going to be a complete rip-off for what it is? It's great, and I think it feels kind of as real to an AK as you probably can get. So we've done that. We've done the PEQ box. What else have we got? Oh, so this is the tracer unit. This is actually the same tracer that I use on one of my Mark 18s. So if The reason I love this is because it's kind of completely, you can take it from one replica, you can stick it onto another. So this has the little release here. So if you pull that off, I've kind of got the flash hider here. It is more your kind of AR Mark 18 style flash hider, but because it's a modern AK, I don't think that really matters. So I've showed you this before on previous video, but if you're wanting to put it on, you can literally just slip it over the edge, pull this up, and then rotate it and it clicks in place. I'll show you that quickly actually on my Mark 18. So this is my Mark 18 and it's the same flash hider. It has these indents here. So you can just basically do the exact same thing, pop it on, rotate it, clicks in place, which means I only really need to carry one tracer with me. Oh, just on that as well, EOTech 600, and this is the 250. So $250 for that is, it looks almost identical. One's black, one's in tan, but to be honest, if you're not running night vision, definitely would get that one. Obviously you can get some very cheap versions of copies that don't actually they don't do that much, or they may not have functionality. If they do, it's very basic, so you could go for one of those for cheaper, but definitely I think this one here is really worth it. So that Predator tracer I believe is about 120. It gets you one of these flash hiders for the attachment on top, and then you could also buy extra ones of these directly from Ace Tech. And I think these are about $20–30. So if you have one replica, you have multiple replicas, you just want to have one tracer unit, you can kind of, if you're happy with this flash hider, you can put these flash hiders on all of your replicas and then switch the tracer unit between all of those, which is fantastic. So I would definitely recommend using that if it was something you're interested in. Other things that we have on top of here, I think that's actually all of the attachments that we have. In terms of internals, which is the next thing, which I think is not necessarily needed with this. Like when you get it out of the box, the performance is amazing, and actually the gas consumption is great. So it's not like you're kind of, oh wait, is it got enough range? Has it got enough hop on it? I run 3.2s in this, which actually I think you could go a lot heavier if you really wanted to, but you really don't need to change anything internally. And actually probably what I've done changing things internally, it's probably kept that level of performance very similar, because I've added a lot of extra stuff, but it has given me more recoil, which for me on this was something I wanted. It's got great recoil on it, but I just decided to do a few things which were going to increase that recoil. So the things that I did was actually this. This normally is not the bolt, steel bolt carrier that you will have. Sorry, it's normally not a steel bolt carrier. It's just a regular aluminium bolt carrier. This is a steel bolt carrier that you can get. I got this from JK Army, and it's got this rounded built-in charging handle. This normally comes with your regular kind of hook charging handle that you get on most AKs and that you get on the AKM. But this is heavier, and therefore it's going to give you more recoil. And I think with the modern design of the AKX, I really liked just being able to kind of have that. I think it makes it look cooler. So it's something that I added, and really, if you're keeping all of your internals the same and you're just adding this, it's probably going to reduce your rate of fire. It's probably going to keep your range very similarly, but could affect that for sure. So just bear that in mind. That was 125, and that's from JK Army. So if you want to look at that, you can go find it on JK Army. Obviously, you're paying shipping, etc. for that, so bear in mind. The other things that I've put in here is 115% recoil. So as the 100% is the standard recoil spring, the standard spring that you have in there. This is 115, so it's about 15% on top, more stiff as a spring. So it's going to give you that harder push in terms of the bolt. I think with the steel bolt, that really probably is necessary because it's going to keep it from being as sluggish. If you've got a weaker spring that's pushing that, it's really not going to, the rate of fire is going to be affected quite significantly. So with that, it's kind of kept it up there. So that I got from bavtac.co.uk, UK site. Again, you're going to be paying shipping if you're in the US. That was $22. There is also something they do, which is a heavyweight piston. So it's kind of the silver piece. I wish I could show you. Silver piece of the weight basically on top of the bolt. That I've got as heavier as well, and that was $40. So again, it's just going to give you more recoil. So effectively what I've done with this is just increase the recoil and the weight of the spring. The tension of the spring, which probably means it's going to be harder wearing on this. So the more I use it, it's going to get more wear, and it's probably going to need more maintenance, and it's not going to last as long. The other thing is that the mags, they're going to use more gas to be pushing this back and forward. So this is probably not going to hold the 4 mags of BBs that, you know, I probably quoted. It might go down to 2 or 3. Something I'll actually test. I'll do some test videos on these so you guys can see how they really perform and not just how they fire dry fire. So that is something to bear in mind as well. And obviously you're paying a lot more money for all of this. So you may look at it and say, you know, what are you thinking? You shouldn't have done that. These as well are about $45. So again, it's probably one of the big costs of having a gas blowback rifle is you're going to have, you know, you're going to need multiple of these. 5, 6 is probably what I would recommend as a minimum. So that's obviously going to increase your cost of the actual replica quite a bit. So as well as that, I've actually done the hot rubber. Again, not something you need to do. That was a 9-ball hot rubber, about $19. Again, I got that from Bavtac. And I put an inner barrel in it, a 6.03 millimeter Prometheus. Again, I don't think it's made a huge amount of difference. It probably means that I can hop slightly heavier BBs, get a little bit more range. But one thing that I've spoken to some techs who've done work on these before is it has that Tokyo Marui magic to it, where whatever they do, the performance on these is amazing. And they kind of build these replicas not just for the feel, it's really for the performance on the field. And so as soon as you start messing with that, you have the chance of really messing up what's going on. So if you're thinking, I don't want to spend the money, I would just keep it as it is out of the box and not listen to anything I've been saying. So that probably is the overview, guys, of what I've done on this. I've thought about maybe getting like an AK tracer, an AK flash hider, and then maybe a tracer attachment for that. I don't know. I actually think this looks quite cool just because it's not like a standard AK, and actually that allows me to basically have a tracer or instantly remove it. And these things are solid as well. It's not like you're moving around, and it's not like it's affecting the actual, you know, the trajectory. The BB's not hitting the inside of it. So again, something I really like. And that, I think, guys, is probably it. Something else to mention, which I really like on this one, AKM doesn't have it, but this is a fastener. So when you put down the actual, the top cover onto the AK, you tighten this and it actually like tightens it in place. On the AKM and some other AKs, the GHKs, etc., this can have some wobble to it. So that definitely does not have that on this. So again, something I just really like. It kind of clicks in place. It's perfect for what it is. And I think that's probably it, guys. I'm trying to think what else I've missed out. I don't think I would actually add anything extra to this. Grip is great. It's kind of more of your vertical. It's not your standard AK, you know, thin little, what are they called? Bakelite kind of, you know, grip. This is more of your AR style grip, which is great. Folding stock as well is fantastic. I don't think I've ever really used it like that, but actually if you're wanting to store it, I've got that as it is, and then I can turn around and say, right, I need to put my tracer on it and I need to extend the stock, and that just clicks out. So I love it, guys, and I'm going to show you what this fires like. There is an internal switch which is just in the magwell right here. So when you flick that on, it allows you to dry fire. And when you flick it off, it's not going to allow you to dry fire. It's obviously, I don't know if you know AKs, but they're different where you kind of, they call it the click of death, where you don't get a bolt hold back when you've got an empty mag. You just pull the trigger and it just clicks because there is nothing chambered. And that has that functionality, but actually if you want to dry fire it, that does make it quite difficult because you can't hold the bolt down, so or the bolt release so the bolt doesn't lock. So they have that functionality. So I'll show you that after I've showed you what it fires like semi and full. With the, you know, actually the seating of the mag is great. You're finding that kind of front wall, clicking it in, great click. This release is fantastic. Oh, other thing to mention is you actually do have a finger release here as well. Again, I've never used it, but if you want to use your actual forefinger, maybe just to drop a mag, I wouldn't drop these because they are expensive gas blowback mags. They weigh a lot and they obviously have gas valves in them. But for a real equivalent, obviously you've emptied the mag, it's just a kind of plastic Bakelite version. So you can just kind of use that as the release. However, I always find if I'm grabbing an AK mag, that's my mag release there. So I use my thumb, but you do have that kind of 2-feature version. With the fire selectors on these, you pull it all the way down for semi, and you kind of have this middle zone for full auto. I rarely use it in full auto because of the fact that you've got limited ammo capacity, and a lot of the sites that I go at, you know, you can use full auto outside towns and inside areas, but generally if you're inside, you're using the semi. So I'll show you the semi first. So just racking it, and so you can see how snappy that is. Bolt does not kind of have full travel, but I think on these it's 3/4 travel. Really isn't something you'd notice, and you can see the recoil there. It's great. Full auto, you can see the rate of fire. So you see it doesn't really slow down, and these mags' gas capacity is great. So I could literally just continue. You see it really does not slow down. So that feels a bit cold now, but again, it's not slowing down. I really, really like this replica for that reason. And I'll show you now. So if I release that, there is a little switch just here. And so if I pull that out and release it, if I can do it, right there. So now you can see here that if I have it on here, that's just going to do the click of death. And same thing here if I've racked it. So that's kind of cool. So when the mag is empty, if you're using it with that dry fire off, you are literally emptying the mag, you know, and then it's empty. You obviously know it's empty. And what you must remember to do is there's no bolt release, so you have to re-rack it when you reinsert the mag. But that's probably around it, guys. So I absolutely love this thing. I probably spent a huge amount of money on it, far more than I should have done. I recommend it. So if you're thinking, hey, is that something that you would get, Badger, if you were going to buy it again? 100%, I think it's great. And what is really good is that you don't have to buy the AKM and then put these expensive body kits on it. It basically kind of gives you a body kit modified AK straight out of the box, you know, for a similar price, which I think is absolutely awesome. I'll be doing a video on my AKM very soon, and I'll put up another vote for you guys just to kind of get an idea of anything else in terms of builds that you'd like me to go through. But as always, guys, have a fantastic day wherever you are, and I will see you on a video very soon. Goodbye.